Welcome back, students, to Chapter 15, Our Environment, Part 1, Ecosystem. First, let us discuss about environment. Environment of an organism means the physical and biological condition in which it lives. Physical condition includes soil, light, temperature, and biological condition includes plants, animals, and microorganisms around it. An organism cannot live in isolation. So, nature has provided functional units in which different organisms of a given area can live and interact among themselves and with their surroundings. Here is an image of an example for environment where you can see both the physical and biological factors in it. Moving on to ecosystem. An ecosystem is a functional unit consisting of all the living beings of an area and the non-living components of their environment interacting to form a stable system. Ecosystem can be natural ecosystem or artificial ecosystem or man-made ecosystem. Examples for natural ecosystem: desert ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, forest, lake, pond and ocean ecosystem. Artificial ecosystem examples are garden, aquarium, crop field. Stability in ecosystem. All ecosystems are stable systems. This means that they maintain a natural balance. An ecosystem involves the flow of nutrients and energy in the form of food. If the organisms living in an ecosystem use up nutrients like nitrogen from their environment without replacing them, soon the system will collapse. However, a balance is maintained between the availability and use of nutrients by recycling them through natural process. Now let us discuss about structure of an ecosystem. Ecosystem has two components, abiotic component and biotic component. Abiotic means non-living and biotic means living. Abiotic components consist of air, water, soil, light, temperature. And biotic component consists of producers, consumers and decomposers. Now here is a picture which depicts the components of ecosystem. Both living and non-living factors can be seen in this. So in this ecosystem, we discuss about the interaction between living and non-living things. Moving on to producers, which is a part of biotic component. Organisms which make their own food are called producers. They are also called autotrophs. Plants and some bacteria are examples. Consumers, organisms which depend on other organisms for their food are called consumers or heterotrophs. Herbivores. Animals who eat only plants and plant products are called herbivores. Carnivores eat only the flesh of other animals. Omnivores, it eats plant as well as flesh of other animals. Consumers can be classified on the basis of who eat whom. In that first one, primary consumers. Consumers who feed directly on producers. Examples are herbivores. Secondary consumers, consumers who feed directly on herbivores or primary consumers. Next is tertiary consumers. Consumers who feed on secondary consumers are called tertiary consumers. Now here is a picture which shows producers. They are the autotrophs. They produce food, example plants. Then primary consumers or the herbivores, secondary consumers or the carnivores, tertiary consumers are also carnivores. Now moving on to decomposers, they play an important role in keeping the balance in nature. Organisms which feed on dead plants and animals are called decomposers. They are also called saprotrophs or saprophytes. The microorganisms comprising bacteria and fungi break down the dead remains and waste products of organisms. These are the decomposers as they break down the complex organic substances into simple inorganic substances that go into the soil and are used up once more by the plants. Decomposers play an important role in recycling of materials, replenishment of soil nutrients, cleaning up the surroundings by decomposing waste. Here are some examples for decomposers. Now moving on to food chain. For an ecosystem to function, there has to be a flow of energy within it. Organisms need energy in the form of food. The ultimate source of this energy is the sun. Producers trap solar energy and convert it into chemical energy. When primary consumers eats the producer, a part of the energy passes on to them. From primary consumers, energy moves to secondary consumers. A series of organisms through which food energy flows in an ecosystem is called a food chain. A food chain always begins with producers. Herbivores comes next in the chain. They are consumed by the secondary consumers. Secondary consumers are consumed by tertiary consumers. Here is an example for food chain. The producers are the grass. They receive energy from the sun. Sun is the ultimate source of energy for an food chain. Producers converts light energy into chemical energy, and herbivore is the primary consumer. Here it is a grasshopper takes food from the producer. The primary consumer is consumed by the secondary consumer. In this food chain, frog is a secondary consumer. Then moving on to snake, which eats the frog, it is a tertiary consumer. Tertiary consumer is consumed by the final consumer, and in this food chain, hawk is the final consumer. When the final consumer dies, decomposes, converts their body into useful substances which the plants can reabsorb. Food chain is a linear arrangement of animals. It does not give a complete picture of the feeding relationship among different organisms of an ecosystem because many of them eat more than one kind of food. For example, a snake does not eat only mice. It may eat insects, frogs, small birds, etc. Snake in turn may be eaten by hawk, eagle, peacock, owl, etc. Thus, an organism can be a part of many food chain. A food web is a series of interconnected food chain representing the feeding relationship of an organism within an ecosystem. So in this picture, you can see there are lots of organisms who are a part of many different food chains. So all the food chains are interconnected, and these interconnected food chains are known as food web. Now trophic level. A level or position in a food chain is called trophic level. Now look into the picture given. You can see a food chain, plant eaten by grasshopper, taken by scorpions and then eaten by fox. In another food chain you have the squirrel, which can be either eaten by the fox or the eagle. Now the first level here in this food chain, the first level is formed by producers. The first trophic level are the producers. The second level is made up of herbivores or the primary consumers. So the herbivores form the second trophic level. The carnivores which feed on the herbivores form the third trophic level. And the fourth trophic level is formed by the tertiary consumer. So each level in the food chain is known as the trophic level. Now about flow of energy. The flow of energy in the form of food within an ecosystem is unidirectional. It flows in one direction. Energy cannot flow back because a higher level consumer cannot be food for a lower level consumer. Green plants absorb a very small fraction of the solar energy reaching the atmosphere. A part of this energy is used by the plants in metabolic activities and part of it is lost into the surrounding as heat. The remaining energy is available as food to primary consumers. Thus, only a fraction of energy absorbed by plants is available to the next trophic level. When primary consumers get energy from plants, they use a part of the energy for metabolic activities and some part is lost as heat. Part of energy, about 10%, which transforms into new tissues, is made available to the carnivores. This level also loss and storage of energy follows the same pattern. When energy flows from producers to the consumers at different level, there is a loss of energy at each trophic level. Only about 10% of the energy available to a trophic level is transferred to the next trophic level. This is called 10% law. Energy loss in a food chain. Energy is lost at different levels in the food chain. Respiration, lost as heat, used up in movement, maintaining constant body temperature, feces and urine lost as heat, some materials not being eaten by the consumer. Now let us discuss where does this energy go. So an organism is taking energy in the form of food. This food is digested. A part of this food is used up to make the new tissues. Biomass is mentioned here. Biomass means the weight of an organism. Now, from the energy which is produced, some energy is lost as urine, some energy is lost as feces, some energy is lost for movement and growth. Energy is lost as heat through cellular respiration. At each level of food chain, about 90% of energy is lost in the form of heat. The total energy passed from one level to the next is only about 1/10 of the energy received from the previous organism. Therefore, as you move up the food chain, there is less energy available. Now, if you take the example of this food chain, you can see 1 million joules of sunlight is there, in which the producers gets only 10,000 joules. When you move up to the next level, it is 1000 joules, then it is 100 joules and then 10 joules. So as the food chain grows from one level to the next level, only less amount of energy reaches. So sun has 1 million joules, plant receives 10,000 joules. Plant has 10,000 joules, grasshopper receives 1000 joules. Now the grasshopper has 1000 joules, in that mouse receives only 100 joules. Now the mouse has 100 joules, eagle receives 10 joules. Eagle dies, this 10 joules goes to decomposers, but they receives only 0.1 joule. Here are some more examples to show 10% law. Since so little energy is available for the next level of consumers, food chain generally consists of only 3 or 4 levels. There are generally a greater number of individuals at the lower trophic level, example producers. The organism at higher trophic level need to eat a large amount of food to fulfill their requirement of energy. If the number of organisms at different trophic levels are represented graphically, a pyramid is formed, which is called pyramid of number. Here we come to the end of this video. The next video is about how we affect the environment. Thank you for watching.